up, Chicago? What up, Bears fans? What up,
Hybrid
Brandon? How you
action.
doing?
What's going on, Dustin? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here. Been a long day, but it's nice to cap it off talking to a friend about the Chicago Bears and everything that's
I
going
know,
on right
man.
now. There's a lot of shit going on.
I missed this.
Yeah,
I
no, we
missed
we
last
took
week.
Thanksgiving
Yeah,
Day off, so I mean, obviously, like, but yeah,
yeah.
it's
Hope
been a
everybody
couple
had a
weeks.
good Thanksgiving. Hope everybody
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
good
Happy
holiday.
Thanksgiving, everybody. Belated. We couldn't get you out of the content that day, but thanks for joining us tonight. We got a lot to get into.
Yeah.
Um, just watched that Thursday night football game, Brandon. Packers versus Lions. Packers at the Lions. It was a pretty damn good game. I enjoyed it.
It, it was strange because it
What are
was
your
like
thoughts?
it was a just back and forth one of those games, but I was bored watching it. I don't
What
know
up, Jedediah?
I don't know how else to say that, man. I like
You were
there
bored
was a lot of
watching
times where a lot of times where it like games like that just typically captivating me. And there's a lot of times where I just found myself on my phone.
it.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Is it
Maybe
because
it's just
do you think it's a Bears effect in terms of just kind of being checked out on this season because they don't have a chance to compete with teams like
no.
that
I think it's
for
because
playoff spots?
I think it's because it's two teams in our division, and I don't necessarily want either to win. So like, kind of rooting for both to lose, and that's never gonna happen. So like,
Well, they could have tied,
yeah.
which would have been decent, I
Oh,
guess.
it would have been a loss in the fans.
Jedediah says Green Bay lost, so it's got to be a good day. I mean, the Lions might become the new Packers the way things are going. If they continue their success, man, they might be beating up on the Bears for a while.
Yeah, but you know what, man? That the way that Packers team came out in the third quarter, I was impressed with the Packers offense, but I was more discouraged by how bad that Detroit team. I can't believe I'm going to say this, man, but I think our rookie quarterback exposed a little bit on this Detroit defense. I think people are literally watching Bears tape and like, okay, so they do allow touchdowns because they had what was it? They had not allowed more than one passing touchdown the entire season before Caleb torched them. So
And it was kind of a similar route for Jordan Love. Jordan Love only had 3 completions in that first half, man. And then he just kind of came out and lit it up. They got right back in the game. And I honestly kind of expected that. That Lions defense, they're playing hard, man. They got a lot of injuries, and they weren't really that great before those injuries to me. So I mean, like they played really well in that first half, and they
yeah, I
played
think
well
there
enough to
was
win the game. But I mean, the
I think there
Packers
was
were able
10
to put up
total.
some numbers.
I think there was 10 total touchdowns, man. Both defenses just don't look good.
I mean, well, 34-31 was the final score. The Lions win it on a walk-off field goal. Dude, Dan Campbell's got balls. To go for that fourth down, man. Let's talk about that. Like, I thought for sure they were going to be trying to draw the Packers offside. They pulled that on the Bears as well. Like that Lions team is smart, and they ended up running the play, and Jared Goff almost fucking falls down. He gets stepped on. He's going to the
Oh,
ground, and
he did fall down.
he's able to. Well, he almost falls down without even getting the ball off. He's
Yeah.
able to hand the ball off to Montgomery, and he gets the first down. That seals the game. I want a coach that does shit like that,
Well,
man.
yeah, I was just gonna say, man, like the entire last like 4 minutes of the game, the way Dan Campbell handled it, it's like just night and day, man, from what we've been watching all season. So, and
Well, not all
to be
season,
honest, to
for
be honest,
fucking 15 years since Lovie
to be,
Smith.
and to be honest, Dustin, I would have made that call. That Packers defense wasn't holding up. Dan Campbell would have been nuts not to go for inches. I would have probably QB
No, it's
sneaked.
you're
I
making
would
it
have QB
sound
sneaked
easier,
that play.
Brandon. You're making it sound easier than it was. The
I'm making
Packers,
it. I'm making it sound like a guy who made this call in the
the
Super Bowl
Brandon,
was willing to make it
The
today.
Packers stopped them on a fourth down attempt earlier in the game. The Packers stopped them on the play before that,
Okay, Dustin,
knifing in. I
do you
mean,
think
that
if
safety.
he's in the playoffs, he makes that call?
I think so. Yeah, I think Dan Campbell's going
He
to
did
be
it.
who Dan
He did
Campbell
it. He
is.
did it in the Super Bowl. So like to see it at 12-1 in the 12th week of this 11th, 13th, that was like okay. I, you know what I mean?
No, they could have gone either
That
way.
call
It's his
didn't
balls, Brandon.
that call didn't show me more balls than I've already seen from Dan Campbell on numerous occasions. I
I'm
guess
not
is what I'm saying.
suggesting that it did. I'm just
Yeah. No,
saying
I know. I
you
guess.
acknowledge
Yeah. I yeah,
the courage that
when
that
I
takes
saw
to
it,
make
to
that
be
call.
honest, Dustin, when the offense came to the sideline, the kick field goal unit never came out, but the offense came to the sideline,
Jared
and I
Goff
was
was
like,
throwing
and
passes.
I was like, no way is Campbell taking this unit
Yeah,
off. No
I
way.
didn't think so either.
No
I
way.
didn't. I mean, there was the potential to try to draw them off sides and go for the field goal, but they sealed the game. And really, all I kept thinking in that time was, God, I wish we had a coach like this in
And
Chicago.
their field goal
That's it.
kicker is like a Cinderella story, which to me is also defined as like one bad kick away from being bad.
Well, in that vein, man, Jedediah says here, fourth down makes the Lions, but it will also inevitably break them. I
Well, it
mean,
did.
and
It did. That's what ended their season last year, guys.
yeah.
It did. Being aggressive has its risks and its rewards, and Dan Campbell obviously outweighs the reward. And you know what?
What's up, Tom?
It's
Thanks
worked
for
for
joining us, man.
it's worked
Appreciate you.
outside of that game against the Niners last year in the playoffs. It's worked for him probably like 85% of the time because this offense is rolling on all cylinders, man. I mean,
Well,
it's just
in two games against the Packers, they're 6 for 7 on fourth down. In that game tonight, they were 4 for 5 on fourth down. It is
yeah.
just who Dan Campbell is. It's still
And
impressive
like
as hell
listen to
to me.
those just attempts. The numbers of those attempts is
Yeah.
crazy, man.
They
The
lead the
guy
league in attempts. They
yeah.
lead the league in conversions on
He
fourth down.
doesn't like you might as the punter might as well just take the season off, honestly.
Who is? Yeah, I don't know who their punter is.
Yeah,
I
I
think he
know.
already
I
has.
don't
Yeah.
think Dan Campbell does.
Hey,
I don't think he
Tom.
knows his name or his number. He's like,
Hey,
hey,
Tom.
get
Jedediah. Guys,
get
guys,
get the punter.
hit the like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I know, Tom, I've never seen you before, man, so I really want
Hey,
to thank
if
you
you
for
guys
joining.
don't know the Lions punter's name, hit that
Yeah.
fucking like button.
If you do know the Lions punter's name, leave it in the
Leave it in the
comments.
chat.
I thought that game was fun, man. I like I said, the biggest takeaway for me is that the Lions and the Packers demonstrated the level of play it's going to take to compete in the NFC North. We knew this NFC North was going to be the best division in football going into this season. The Bears have not competed in it. They're 0-3. I mean, they were competitive in the games and had a chance to win those games, but you got to be playing at a really high level to have success in this NFC North, and that directly impacts your playoff potential. That it just does. So the Bears have got to step their game up to get on the level of these teams, man. That's what I
Well,
keep thinking about.
they showed that graph of the teams currently holding playoff seeds and teams in the hunt and all that stuff, and three of the top four teams in the NFC playoff hunt are in the NFC North, and that's
Yep.
discouraging for sure. You're right, Dustin. I mean, it's but I will say this: what gave me, I don't know, like faith in watching tonight's game for the Bears' future is these teams don't play defense, man. So if the Bears get this thing right and they find a person who can make it like work, they have something that every other team in this division is probably still another year away from catching up to. This Bears
Well,
defense next year, if you get another edge rusher, quality edge rusher next year on this defense, man, it's gonna be this secondary is here to
the
stay.
Packers have a great secondary, and they have a new defensive coordinator this year. So you would imagine that would continue to get better. They drafted a bunch of guys
No,
on
but I
defense this
still
year.
think
So
they're about a year away. Like I
yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah.
and the Packers
Could be
just
this year.
guys, as long as the Packers have been good on offense, they've been around average on defense. They're kind of the Bears have always done the defensive side of football well. The Packers have always done the offensive side of football well, and the two teams have never really done the other thing all that great. So
Well, the
I've never.
Packers have had some pretty damn good defenses when they've won Super Bowls. I mean, they have good teams, but the Packers go to 9-4 after that game. They're 1-3 in the division, so they're not faring so well in the NFC North either. It
No,
shows
then
how tough that division is.
they lose a couple more, and they're going to be talking about not being in the playoffs this year.
The Lions, speaking of that, clinched a playoff spot with the win tonight. They've beat the Packers twice. They're 1-11 in a row. 12 wins on the season for them. I mean, it's really impressive what they're doing over there. Really impressive. So,
and I'm going to pitch you a very real possibility, guys. If you want anything to hold on to, any hope to hold on to for the remainder of the Bears season, there is a great possibility that the Bears game against the Packers prevents the Packers from being a playoff seed. That's a very real scenario for sure. I
How
talked about
amazing
it.
would that be if we get to that last game of the season in
And that's when
Lambeau
they
and the
turn it
Bears
on. That's
go
when the
in
Bears
there
figure it out. Like,
and beat the
oh
Packers and
shit.
knock them out of the playoffs? I mean, we're hoping for small victories here as Bears fans right now. We got Thomas Brown
But
taking over as
imagine, Dustin,
interim head coach.
imagine
We're
what that,
hoping for
because
small victories.
the Packers, if the last game of the season for the Packers dictates playoffs, they're going to be playing. You know what I mean? Like if the Bears come out and
Well, they're going to be playing balls to the wall for
yeah,
sure.
if the Bears come out and just beat them up in their house
That's
for a game,
something you can carry into the next season,
yes, and
positive momentum.
I'm big on that.
I'm
Yeah,
big
for
on
sure.
that too, man. I'm big on momentum and it carrying over even through an off season. The way teams finish really does have a potential to dictate how they start the next season and how they play. And I think we're looking to that to be our savior this season for Bears fans, man, is how do the Bears perform in these last 5 games of this season with all the changes going on? And if beating the Packers and knocking them out of the playoffs caps that off, that would be fucking amazing. That would be amazing.
And that'd be a Thomas Brown would probably feel pretty good about that, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's something to hang your hat on, man. It's something to put on your resume, especially if you're interviewing for being the head coach permanently of the Chicago Bears. Hey, I beat the Packers. Matt Eberflus couldn't do that. It's a good thing to put on your
Nagy
resume.
did it once.
Yeah.
Nobody's
It's not
had
something
success. Yeah.
Matt LaFleur has won like 11 in a row against the Chicago Bears. So yeah, it's not
Matt LaFleur, yeah, he's never lost.
yeah. So that game was that game, man. Lions pulled it out, secure a playoff spot. Packers are going to be fighting hard these last few games to stay in it, and we'll see how that goes when the Bears go to Lambeau at the end of the season. What the implications are of that game, and that could make it for a fun one, man. What else is going on? You had other stuff you want to talk about in regards to the Bears this week? Any news you want to touch on? There was a lot of press conferences this week, a lot of important ones. We've already talked about
we haven't.
about that,
So let's just dive into it, just because we haven't been on since we missed last week. So, guys, we are about a week away from.
Let's get Jedediah's comment in here because he's in here with us, hanging tough, man. We appreciate him. Packers aren't bad, but they aren't that good either. Just like every year since 2011, they are frauds. I mean, we'll see.
Jedediah, I'm gonna throw some numbers at you, okay? In their last 4 games, they're 3-1. Jordan Love has 6 touchdowns and 1 interception. Josh Jacobs has 8 touchdowns rushing in 4 games. So, I mean, they're looking like a team that if I'm in the NFC playoff, I don't want to play.
They're a team that's going to give you a lot, man. Like they just took the Lions down to the wire tonight, in Detroit. So I mean, this is a good football team, I think, and they're going to be competitive if they make the playoffs, which they probably should. Tom Lyon says they could go to the Super Bowl. Dangerous team.
Yeah, they're a dangerous team. You don't want to run into this team with the momentum they've had as of late, guys.
Yeah, no, but at the same time, Jordan Love could throw you the game. So it's like Jordan Love could throw to win the game, but he could throw to lose the game too. That's just.
I mean, I don't see this was my point though, Dustin. You say like in the last 4 games, last 4 games, 1 turnover. This guy last year finished after October 31st, after Halloween. I think he threw like 25 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He does something.
But he also threw an interception to lose
the game in the biggest moment of his.
So he can throw you the game.
Right. He threw an interception in the biggest moment of his first year as a starter. Yes.
For sure. I'm not denigrating Jordan Love. It's just what I'm saying is factual. He can throw the pass that wins the game. He can throw the pass that loses the game. That's
I'll anticipate he throws very little interceptions for the remainder of the season.
For sure.
That's what makes me think they're scary, because those things get fixed. LaFleur, good head coaches fix that shit. And they did last year, and they're doing it again now. And it's leading to wins, man. They're 3-1. They're not turning the ball over, and they're 3-1. And that's what good football teams do. And we don't do well. We don't turn the ball over, but we still suck.
Did you see the stat that the Bears are tied for 4th at plus turnover differential in the NFL?
Of course.
No, there was a top 10 list, and the Bears were 4th on this fucking list. every team around them is in the playoffs right now. Every team around them was at least 3 games over 500. I think 4. The Bears are 4 games under 500.
That makes sense, Dustin, because like the manner in which the Bears have lost games, they should, you know what I mean? You feel like we've won every one of these games, man, don't you? Like it's like the players won.
Well,
the
that's
coach just lost. So
that's
it's
why
like
we're here where we are.
yeah,
Yes.
and so those numbers make sense, and it's like all the statistical categories are like that. You know what I mean? The Bears are like they're also in the plus on scoring, the scoring differential. They're positive, and there's like a ridiculous statistic. Like in the last 55 years, only one team that's in the positive in a scoring differential didn't make the playoffs or something stupid, man. I mean that, and
2 blowouts of bad teams.
A 1 in 68 million chance that Flus loses 6 games with a 90% win
Tom
rate.
has a question for us here, man. He says, between Love and Goff, who would you be concerned about throwing a pick at the wrong time? Who are you more concerned about throwing that? For me, it's Love, 100%.
Well, of course, I would imagine
Goff does not make a lot of mistakes.
No, I mean, unless he's playing the Bears. Goff doesn't typically throw interceptions.
Or the Houston Texans. He threw 5 interceptions against the Houston Texans. I mean, but like that was so rare and off the wall. But like Goff he threw an interception tonight, but that was the first one he's had since he threw those 5 interceptions.
Without bias, guys, I don't want either of those quarterbacks. It's the one good thing we could say as Bears fans.
I'd rather have Caleb.
I'm good. I'm good with that guy, man. I don't want either of those guys. I don't want Jared Goff's in his ladder tenure, and Jordan Love, like Dustin said, has not really found a way to fix the mistakes. So I'm good with our
guy. Adds on to that, you know, I'll take Goff. Jordan Love is streaky until it counts, then he'll do what he does best, throw the game away.
Sam Darnold last place for sure.
Sam Darnold. I mean, listen, if I'm picking NFC North quarterbacks and ranking them out, and we did this before the season started, I mean, I guess it's apropos to do it now. And after Caleb Williams has, you know, played 12 games in his rookie season, I'm taking Caleb Williams number 1 in the NFC North. And I mean, you could say that that's bias, I guess, but
no, I think he's about
Caleb Williams has obviously a much brighter future.
I think he's about to prove you honest. I really do. I think he's about to prove you honest. I think Caleb over these last 5 games is gonna just pick up where he's left off and start shredding. This is the case. Remember, Dustin, for all these episodes early on in our starting this bare minimum, you remember me saying like it's gonna happen. It's gonna be a week where it's just like he's that dude, and it's getting there. He's like right on the edge.
Been there, man. It's been there. Last week he threw 3 touchdowns in the second half, man, against that Lions team. He's played really well and put this team in position to win these games.
And I might be a little. I don't think it's even too early to say this. I said to you guys earlier, we have that quarterback that when like you're kicking the ball off to them with the lead and like a minute and 26 seconds left, you don't.
The other team is scared. The other team
feel good. The fan base is like shit. Caleb Williams.
More importantly,
we have that
defense on the field. Yeah, the defense on the field.
We have the quarterback where you're like, God damn, that guy's getting the ball with. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
Listen, man, I think Caleb is one of those guys where you're going into a game as a defensive coordinator playing against Caleb, and you're stressed the fuck out having to play Caleb Williams. Even him right now. This week, Sorensen is stressed the fuck out for the Niners defensive coordinator, thinking about how he's going to stop Caleb Williams because it's going to be hard.
And he's also going to finish with probably close to 600 yards rushing. He's at almost 400. He's got 5 weeks left.
Jedediah says he was cracking up at even suggesting Sam Darnold, but that doesn't translate over text. You know, the laughing emoji works, smiley face emoji. throw one of those in there. We got you, man. But yeah, but honestly, it's the way Sam Darnold is playing, it can be taken seriously, man. Sam Darnold is having a really good season. The NFC North is just a really tough division with good coaches, good quarterbacks, good overall talent. If I can give the ball and trust it to any player in the NFC North, it's got to be Torrey Taylor. Hold on to this until, okay. Moving on. We got a game coming up this Sunday. We've had a lot of things transpire over the last, week and change, man. Matt Eberflus shits the bed on Thanksgiving against the Lions. National story. Next day, he still does his press conference. He's fired.
Yeah, the Bears
He's
find a
fired.
way to do it improperly.
Yeah, they always find a way to be backwards even when they're doing something right. Even when they're doing the right thing, they find a way to do it in a shitty way. Postpone your damn press conference. Postpone the press conference. If you know you're having a conversation about Kevin Warren said we were still in discussion about what we were going to do. Well, you're having the fucking discussion. So maybe push that press conference back to see where that conversation falls. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't get their reluctancy with the media. Like, the Bears don't want to share things with the media. They've always been this way since Flus was the coach. They don't like when Justin Fields had suffered injuries and we were wondering if he's coming back. It was always like you never got an answer. Sometimes the press conference occurred with Justin Fields injured and they didn't even bring it up. So it's your starting quarterback. So this organization's always been this way, and I think they felt like if they had not allowed Flus to do the interview, then the fan base would have been like, "Oh, I think they might be termed." Oh, yeah,
that's what everybody wants. That's what everybody's talking about.
Guess what, guys? With the press conference, we were like, he might still be fired.
No, he's definitely going to be fired. You know, it was so strange.
And the press conference didn't go well.
No,
it wasn't a good press conference.
No, and here, Jedediah says this legendary moment, making him do the press conference, knowing potentially you were going to fire him. We haven't dived into this, man, but like if you're a head coach and you're on the market, you're looking for your next team. Don't you think about a thing like that? Like they had Matt Eberflus go out there and embarrass himself 2 hours before they fired him. How you treat your people see that. People are observing those things. Your next candidate has. I'd think about that. I'd be like, are they going to fucking do me dirty like this guy?
He's going to be a defensive coordinator in the NFL next year, man.
Okay, but they still did wrong by him, regardless of how you feel about Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus was in over his head. He was over his skis. He had no idea what the fuck he was doing from the moment they hired him. But they did not help him. They did not help him grow as a head coach, and they didn't do him any favors by letting him go out and do that press conference on Friday.
They make poor decisions and it reflects poorly over everybody. But I think this organization is too kind. Matt Eberflus should have been gone weeks ago. And
let me say this.
Hold on. They traded Justin Fields to the team he wanted to go to. What the hell is that about? I can't even wrap my mind up. We had better offers, but Fields wanted to go what the fuck are you talking about?
You better not have. You're not doing your job right if you're Ryan Poles and you're doing that. But here, listen, that's one thing that players across the league see, and that could buy you some goodwill going forward. If it was the difference between a guaranteed fourth and a potential fourth or sixth, I mean, maybe the goodwill is worth that, okay?
But I don't think you're getting the goodwill from the coach's perspective no matter what.
What I'm saying, though, what I'm going to say here, because you said the Bears are trying to be too nice, man. Everybody has that person or has had that person in their lives that, like, wants everyone to like them and tries super hard to be nice to everyone. That's the most two-faced person in your life. They will tell this person this thing when you're not around to make them feel better because that's what they want to hear, and then they'll turn around.
Because that makes everybody like them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they always get caught up in this whirlwind of shit. But
so being nice, it's not about being nice. It's about results. It's about transparency.
And it's also a person who can never lead anyone, by the way. There's no leadership quality in a person like that at all.
I don't know. I just thought that the way that they handled it showed a lot of incompetency. It showed a lot of lack of foresight in terms of how things would be perceived. At least Kevin Warren raised his hand. He said, I'll raise my hand. We could have done better in retrospect. But like Matt Eberflus could have done better in retrospect. If Matt Eberflus could go back and look at the film and replay those moments that he fucking totally botched in these games, he would look pretty damn smart. You don't get that opportunity. This team needs foresight. That foresight is going to help them pick their next head coach. So like when they exemplify the lack of foresight that they have, and even when they're doing the right thing, they do it ass backwards, it makes you wonder, can they make this decision? Are they looking forward with the right lens? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
does that make sense to you? What I'm saying?
I agree with you, Dustin, 100%. And it doesn't surprise me, and it doesn't surprise you that even in something good, they found a way to make it bad. That's just what they do, man. It is, and it begs the question: are Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren on the wrong page, or are Ryan Poles and George on the wrong? I want to know where Kevin Warren lied in all of this. I want to know if the truth is that Ryan Poles, after the New England game,
Wanted to fire Eberflus.
was suggesting that Eberflus should be fired. I want to know where Kevin Warren stood over that decision versus George McCaskey. Was Kevin Warren telling George, "Listen, man, Ryan is telling you what he wants. Like, do it." You know what I mean? Is he advocating for Ryan Poles, or is he defending George McCaskey? He is the buffer between those two, Dustin. This is
Okay,
what
but
he's
if
going to
Ryan,
do.
how you're not advocating for Ryan Poles if he wants to fire Matt Eberflus and you're not letting him. I mean, if you hire a GM,
Well, what I'm
decisions,
asking though is, Dustin, did Kevin Warren say, "I agree with you, Ryan," and George said no? Because George doesn't like George doesn't like the image of the franchise that fired the coach in the. I assure you, Dustin, that even when that decision was confirmed, when it was approved, George still didn't like it.
I mean, if you're firing a guy during the holidays and upending their whole lives, that's not
Yeah, but
easy.
it's more based around
Reputation.
the Bears have
Yeah.
always had this the reputation that they just don't do this, and I imagine he didn't want to do it. I think that George didn't want to do it, and still to this day didn't want to do it. Like, that's what I think, and
Well,
I
the
think it
fact that
took.
he did it could be positive,
I'm
right?
wondering
The
that it
fact that he
took.
let it happen could be
I'm
positive.
wondering if it took his new president, who isn't a Ted Phillips, who isn't. I don't think that Kevin Warren's a yes man. I don't get that from Kevin Warren, man. I really don't. I don't get that from his aura, like the way he carries himself, his persona. I think that maybe Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren got in the same corner in order to tell George to do something that didn't occur for 100 years. You know what
Well,
I
they
mean?
fucking better have, and that's what needs to be
Yeah,
happening going
that's what I'm
forward.
saying. I hope this relationship
Yeah.
between Poles and Warren is not what negated the firing after New England. You know what I mean?
Your name was Tom before. I'm gonna call you Tom. Says, let's be real. We have an organizational issue. This has been like a stage play with the same rules, new actors. Yeah, for sure. That's very
Same
well said.
actors, really.
I mean, yeah, new
The
actors just.
dysfunction are the same actors. Yeah.
So I mean, like that, but that's very well said, man. And we're hoping that this signals a change that Matt Eberflus was fired in the middle of the season, that the Bears are making these moves now and doing something they've never done before. And hopefully that signals change for the rest of this season, and that signals change going into the off season. As far as the rest of the season goes, Brandon, Thomas-Brown is now the interim head coach. They picked Thomas-Brown to be that person. How you feeling about that? How are we feeling about the expectations for Thomas-Brown for the remainder of this season and how he's going to get this team to perform?
Well, the expectations, I think, have to be a little garnered because I've said this, I know, multiple times, but I'm going to say it again, guys. This is not his playbook. It's not his coaching staff. He is now going to be the head coach while also assuming the role of, well, retaining the role of calling plays. And that's what we got. I think that's what got Flus in trouble in the first place. This is going to be the toughest audition for a potential head coaching candidate that we've probably seen in the NFL in a very long time, because I think the Bears want to believe that Thomas-Brown can be their head coach, but it's going to be very hard for him to prove that. However, Dustin, like me and you have both said, if Thomas-Brown has any success, it's more success than any other coach in the NFL. I believe that. I do. I'm grading him on a curve, for sure.
And I think the Bears are going to be grading him on a curve. And
Well, he's
regardless of
going to get
the
an interview. No
yeah,
matter what the results are, he's going to have an interview as a head coach for the Bears.
regardless of the situation, Thomas-Brown has a great opportunity in front of him. He
Yeah.
has an awesome opportunity, and I think he
And I'm not saying like,
understands
oh,
that.
this isn't the way I wanted it. The guy's probably ecstatic.
No,
He's
yeah,
probably
for sure.
thrilled. And I think if he is, that just proves that he's more the guy that I want him to be. So I feel good about Thomas-Brown as the guy who's developing Caleb Williams, and that's all we've seen him do so far, Dustin. So based on that and that alone, like he had faced some adversity. He kind of took over a little bit of a mess, and he's done well with it over the 2 weeks he's been calling plays for the Chicago Bears. So, or 3 weeks. So from what I've seen so far, I feel confident that he's going to be able to assume more adversity.
Well, the key to that for Thomas Brown is going to be for him to show that he's capable of doing something that Matt Eberflus could not show he was capable of, which is delegating, which is leaning on his staff, which is, you know, great communication with them and expectations and preparation. Matt Eberflus needed the play calling, Brandon. He needed it because it's what showed value. It's how he had success to end last season, and it's what kept him his job, really, if you think about it, taking over the play calling for Alan Williams last year. So I mean, if Thomas Brown can establish that he is a leader of a football team by delegating, by relying on his staff to do the jobs that they need to do, because like you just said, man, he's been focused on developing Caleb Williams, and that's gone really well. But he's not going to be able to just solely focus on that. So he's got to trust these guys to help him do that. And he's got to communicate a plan very well and very clear. If he can show that he can do that, that's a huge win for him just off the bat, because the Bears have not had that in Matt Eberflus.
Well, and also, and I agree with you, Dustin, because Flus obviously didn't trust his staff enough, or like you said, he just wanted to showboat his play calling. But
I think that's
as much as Thomas Brown needs to rely on his staff, it's not his staff. It's the staff that Matt Eberflus had. So
it is now.
What's most important to me, more so than even relying on the staff that's been presented to him, is the buck stops with Thomas Brown. And I don't want anybody making any fucking decisions that a head coach should be making. Thomas Brown needs to make that clear first and foremost. If we're talking about a 2-point conversion or an extra point, it's me. If we're talking about a fake punt, it's me. If we're talking about handing the ball off to an offensive or a backup offensive lineman, it's me.
We're talking about a timeout being called in the fourth quarter.
Nothing is being done on this football team until I tell you that that's what's going to happen. That's what I want, a guy who does that. And he seems that way, man. He seems like, even with his coaches, he's not your friend. You know what I mean? He kind of, like, I just get this from this guy. Like, Courtney Cronin went to practice. She stood close to him through the course of the silence. She said people were smiling and having fun, but Thomas Brown was always just kind of, this is who you know what I mean? Like, he was in command of it. It never, like, he was, the father of this group of people. Like, he kind of presented himself that way. Like, yes, I'm glad that you guys, there's smiles here, that the team clearly is kind of rallied around him, but he's also still very, I am in charge. That's, and what is what it is, and what I say goes, and if it doesn't, you know what I mean? So I from what I've heard about the way this guy carries himself, I have no doubt that he'll manage a game well when the game's on the line. I really do. I like he, like you said, stoic, but he's poised. You remember, I think it was Bill Cowher that said he saw Matt Eberflus freeze in a moment.
Yeah, I said that that day. Yeah,
I don't see this in this guy. You know what I mean?
You're talking about something that I want to touch on, because Chris Beatty did his press conference today. The coordinators did their press conferences today, and Chris Beatty stated very clearly that he has previous experience with game management, clock management. He did it in college for college teams, Wisconsin, Maryland. And Thomas Brown knows that, because Thomas Brown worked with him at Wisconsin. He actually kind of got Thomas Brown the job at Wisconsin. So Thomas Brown immediately went to Chris Beatty and said, "You're helping me with clock management. And I love this. This is what I'm talking about in terms of that delegation, in terms of that clear communication of what the expectations are to your staff." Because that's what great leaders do, man. If you're a great leader in your building, wherever that building is, you're giving responsibilities to other people, and you're helping, you're telling them what you expect from them in those roles, and you're helping them with that.
And you always have good head coaches, man, always have that guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's always a guy that, like the Spagnola to an Andy Reid. There's always that guy that I would imagine Thomas Brown will look to Beatty and not for, he'll ask him in game management situations, what do you think? But Thomas Brown will ultimately decide what's best. You know?
No, for sure. But Chris Beatty specifically said that they're going to be discussing those things ahead of time, as before you get into the situation, whereas the Bears were just reacting in the moment, and that's why Matt Eberflus
not even freezing. Reacting.
Yeah. They've already established a clear line of communication and how they're going to streamline this, and they have a plan for it. That's very encouraging just to hear, man, from at least to me. Are you encouraged by hearing that?
I'm encouraged by everything I've heard about Thomas Brown, Dustin. Before we started this show, I told you, and Courtney Cronin reported this. Matty Eberflus was doing a process where the Bears did a walkthrough where you're doing those high steps, you're loosening up your legs, your body, you're getting yourself, ready for physical activity, and then they'd go watch film, and then they would go out and practice. And when Thomas Brown was confronted about the change in routine, he said, "It just makes more sense. It does. It to come out here and walk the field and get your body, and you're doing those
Brandon, real quick,
those quick
a
jogs."
walkthrough is like walking through the plays. Walking through the plays that you have
No,
installed.
she said they did a walkthrough on the field. That's what
Yeah,
Courtney
that's what.
Cronin literally
But yes,
reported.
that's a walkthrough, Brandon. You're running the plays, but you're not running. You're walking and just
Okay.
getting
Well,
the assignments. in place and
regardless
the
of
motions.
what the activity is, Thomas Brown altered the routine and then said it just makes more sense.
It
And for
does,
him,
and yeah,
and he
it
doesn't.
does.
He's not saying, Matt, it was just dumb what we were doing. He was just saying it's just more fluent to
This
me.
just makes more sense.
Yes,
If you're walking through the plays, now go run the plays.
which
Yeah.
makes sense because when this guy took over offensive play calling, it just became more fluent immediately. It was more fluent. Everything
And
following
streamlined.
the thing that happened before it made
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
He's used play action to establish more of a run. He's not dropping Caleb back in the worst moments possible. You know what I mean? He's just doing things that make sense. And starting with practice is probably pretty important, I would imagine. So everything this guy has
That's where
done,
everything's established.
yeah,
Yes.
since the day this guy's gotten the job, he's finding ways to better tune this team to be successful. And you know what, man? You asked me how I feel. How do I feel in regards to him taking over as the head coach? I feel confident that the Bears will win more of these games. They're
Okay.
still going to compete like they have, and they're going to win more of these games with these one score. Bears have the ball. There's
Just
30
with having a
seconds left.
competent
Yeah.
person making the decisions. And Tom says right here in that vein, he says, for me, if Thomas wins out, it becomes a no-brainer. However, I think the best possible outcome is that Thomas is retained under a new administration, but that is unlikely. I agree with you, Tom. I think Brandon does too. If we hire a head coach that is not Thomas Brown, the likelihood of Thomas Brown remaining as the offensive coordinator in Chicago is very low. I mean, unless he were to interview with that head coach and get the job or had a previous relationship with him. Thomas Brown really needs to impress in this role as the interim head coach, because that's going to be his best bet to maintain a job in Chicago. It's going to be as the head coach, not the offensive coordinator. I agree with you.
Well, and if Thomas Brown is, if the offense of this team looks good, Thomas Brown is going to be doing offensive court. If Caleb finished this season well, Thomas Brown is going to be doing offensive.
He's going to have an offensive coordinator job somewhere.
If the Bears win 5 games, guys, Thomas Brown is going to be getting calls for other things. It's not going to be an offensive coordinating thing. Thomas Brown is going to be doing head coaching interviews if he wins out. Like I said, the odds are stacked against him. General managers understand this. They know this guy is not in an ideal situation. If he rises above and beats his 3 divisional opponents to finish this season, and 2 of those games will be away, he has done something that not only Matt Eberflus couldn't do. I don't know if any fucking coach, as an interim coach, could do that.
Then like Tom is saying there, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
If Thomas Brown were to do that, you hire that fucking guy, because this guy just overcame a lot of adversity,
then you sincerely consider,
and held your locker room together and found success. Like that's something you can't look past.
And Dustin, am I wrong to say this? So I'll say this, Tom. If they go 5-0, Thomas Brown, you're talking about Thomas Brown's a no-brainer. You should be considering Eric Washington and Beatty. You should be if they go 5-0, right, Dustin? You should be considering the staff.
Yes. You maintain everything. Thomas Brown has established something with these guys if that happens.
Absolutely.
Now, is that going to happen? No, I don't think so. I mean, I would not bet on it. But if it were to happen,
they're playing some difficult football games.
They have a very tough schedule, right? They got the Niners in Santa Clara it's Mello. He shortened it to Mello for us, so we appreciate you. It was a couple different names when he started out, but thanks for joining us again, Mello. Appreciate you being here. Your comments are awesome. But they got the Niners in Santa Clara, right? Then they got Vikings on Monday Night Football. in Minnesota. Then they got the Lions. They get them at home at least, which is a plus.
And in
Then they got the
Seattle.
Seahawks at home, which is a plus as
Are we at
well.
home for Seattle? Oh, yeah,
Yep,
because we go to
yep,
Green
yep.
Bay. Yeah.
And then we're on our way to Green Bay, Lambeau Field to finish the season. It's a very tough stretch of games here. If Thomas Brown were to fucking win out, I don't let him leave.
Thomas Brown wins out. He literally is the second coming of Mike Tomlin.
No, yes.
This guy started his career just not losing like Mike Tomlin did.
He's not Tomlin light. He's Tomlin 2.0.
Yeah, he just hit the ground not losing. You know what I mean? Like Mike Tomlin has.
So what are you? What we're talking about? Best case, insane dream world scenarios here. We both like Thomas Brown. We're both saying that here. We both like what this staff is.
Yes, and I want to make this clear. Dustin and myself have liked Thomas Brown since
that was the sneakiest best hire they made in the offseason, this past offseason. It was a great hire. And obviously it's paid off very well because he went from passing game coordinator 4 weeks ago to the head coach now. Yeah. So, I mean, but what are your realistic expectations for Thomas Brown in terms of wins and losses? Because he is going to be judged on that, Brandon, by this Bears organization and by other teams looking for coaching positions come this offseason. What are your realistic expectations?
Well, I think the worst case scenario for Thomas Brown would be that he wins the Niners and Seahawks game and loses the 3 divisional games. I think that's dead rights, to be honest with you. I think it is.
2 and 3?
I think if he goes 2 and 3 and the 3 losses are divisional games, I don't think the Bears are going to be super sold. I'm going to say that for sure, man.
Yeah.
I think if this guy comes out and goes 3 and 2 and 2 of those games are divisional, it's huge. I think it's huge. I think if he wins games within this division based on what we've seen with this organization for the last few years, it means that it wasn't its team wasn't bad, like was not good enough to beat their divisional opponents, is because the guys in charge sucked. So if Thomas Brown can just open everyone's eyes to, like, as long as you just don't lose these games for these guys, they play pretty hard and they're pretty good. You know what I mean? Like if he comes out and goes 3 and 2, Dustin, I'll be impressed. If he comes out and goes 2 and 3, I'll think he didn't have much. You know what I mean? He was, the odds
2 and 3 could still be impressive. Melo says
odds,
3 wins.
Well, especially because, like we said, the odds are stacked against him. If he comes out and wins, if he comes out and wins 1 or less games, you probably don't have a head coach.
No, yeah. The 2 and 3 could still be impressive, depending on how you compete in these games.
If it's in Green Bay, that's huge. If you win a game in Green Bay, guys, and I'm not just saying it because we're Bears fans. It's a really hard environment to win football games in on the last game of the season. Like if Thomas Brown goes in that environment and wins a football game, that's impressive.
So that's the environment of just that football field, that Lambeau Stadium. That's that environment. The environment of just being the head coach in this whirlwind that Thomas Brown is in right now. Imagine if this shit happened to you in your life, where you just went from the lowest man, one of the lowest men on the totem pole at your job, to now you're the CEO of the company in 4 weeks. Like, hold on. Let me say this. Thomas Brown is going through it, man. Like, regardless of the opportunity, he is going through it. So, like, if he can find a way to even win 2 games, that's got to be impressive, man. If you think about a rookie quarterback starting their first game in the NFL, Thomas Brown is starting his first game as a head coach in the NFL. Those guys make mistakes. We should expect Thomas Brown to make mistakes. This is the point I was trying to get to. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. So we can't hold those mistakes against him. We need to look for the positives the same way we look for the positives in Caleb Williams' play in his rookie season. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, he's getting graded on a curve, you know?
Yeah.
Not for this situation and for the fact that he has no experience doing this.
Well, and
what up, Bruce?
His wins, who he wins against, to me will be important, Dustin, because of coaching. So even if Thomas Brown beats this 49ers team, who hasn't played very well this year, Kyle Shanahan is across the other side of that football field, guys. And if he beats Matt LaFleur, he's the first Chicago coach to do it. That would be, guys, coaching in the NFL. Coaching in the NFL. Coaches in the NFL have the biggest, the NBA is close, but probably the biggest impact on a game. A coach in the NFL probably has the biggest
impact. NBA is not close at all.
Yeah. So
the NBA is not close at all.
if Matt LaFleur has beaten every coach this team has hired, who had their interview in the offseason and hired their staff and had it the way they needed it, the way they wanted it, you know what I mean? If obviously the roster wasn't really great for Matty Eberflus, but if Thomas Brown without all these things beats LaFleur in a game of chess, because that's what this is. That was my point. Is these coaches matter. Coaches matter in the
They do.
NFL,
They
and
do.
and
More
being
so than
good,
any other
being
sport.
good is often means that you're just one step ahead of the guy on the other side of the field. So if Thomas Brown does that to Matt LaFleur, that is more than, oh, the Bears beat the Packers and Thomas Brown did it. It's cool. So let's go start a coaching search. No, that's like, holy shit, this guy might be in the building. He's in the
Yeah,
building.
and then you get to that point of the conversation where it's like, say he goes 2-3, say he goes 3-2. The Bears do their due diligence in the offseason. The Bears is due diligence, and they go through all the whole process. They interview everybody, and they don't choose Thomas Brown. What if Thomas Brown goes somewhere else and continues this trajectory of stardom potentially for another franchise, and we make the wrong decision again and let him leave and bring in a guy that sets us back further?
Yeah, and you see Thomas Brown at 46 years old standing on the sideline of the same football team he got hired by as a head coach,
And
man.
that'll be in 8 years because Thomas Brown is 38 years old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A decade of Thomas Brown being a head, which the Bears, who was the last Bears coach that lasted 10 years, man? Lovey Smith there?
Lovey was close. He was 8 or 9 years. Yeah, it was close.
God.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking for consistency as Bears fans. We're looking for stability as Bears fans, and we're hoping Thomas Brown can provide that. And like I said, I'm just looking for the glimpses of hope, the positive shit. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, if like I said, if they win 2 games, I can still be very high on Thomas Brown at the end of the season if he coaches those games well. If he's not out coached by these really good coaches, like you just said, Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell, Dan Campbell, LaFleur, and you got McDonald in Seattle, who's proven himself to be a pretty damn good coach his first season as a head coach too. So you're going up against some really good coaching talent as well. So they might not go over 500 at the end in these final 5, but Thomas Brown could still really prove himself to be that guy, even so, in my mind.
And he's good, man. It's good. It's not an ideal situation, guys. And he's going to be doing things now that you don't even think about. He's going to be doing like personnel decisions, having the right people in the field in the right time. You know what I mean? The timeouts, the challenges, the stuff. The, if Thomas, he's going to have so much responsibility that he is not accustomed to as of 4 weeks ago. That if this guy can wrap his head around it, like there's so much that goes into being a head coach during a game that you don't even think, because you're thinking play calling, you're thinking challenges, timeouts, going forward on fourth down, stuff like that. There's other things that are going on these sidelines, guys, that these head coaches are responsible for. And like Dustin said, it's a great opportunity, but this guy is really going to have to be good in order for this team to have a winning record to finish this season.
Yeah, for
Really
all you
good.
level-headed fans, guys, let's give Thomas Brown the same grace we've given Caleb Williams, the same grace we've given Justin Fields.
Yeah, he's going to make mistakes.
Yes, I mean, those things are going to happen. We have to keep that in our minds when we're grading this guy, not making excuses for him, but I'm just saying, like, it's a lot. Again, imagine whatever company you work for, you going from just an hourly worker to then becoming the CEO of the company in a month. That's
Yeah,
an
and I hate to say it,
insane
Dustin,
rise, an
there's a very
insane
real
change.
possibility this falls apart. There's a possibility that Thomas Brown is worse at this than Matty Eberflus was. There is a possibility. Like even there's just so many things, man, that a coach could fail at. Besides the things that Matt Eberflus did, that could still make them a bad head coach. Not just situational football and game time, game-winning decisions, but other things, subtle things, small things, man.
But and if he shows
like
he has
like this. What if Thomas Brown comes out against the Niners and the Bears have 13 penalties for 67 yards? That's what I
fire
mean.
Thomas Brown.
It's like you got a problem. There's things that coaches are responsible for that you haven't been thinking about. Penalties we have been, because they haven't been great, but there's things that you're not thinking about because Matt Eberflus and his staff were actually doing a good job with them. So you want to see that Thomas Brown also continues to do the things that the Bears did successful. This Bears defense has been pretty stout. They've held teams to pretty much the same mark all year.
This is a good segue. Before we do that, I want to get to some of the chat based on what we've been talking about.
I saw Bruce in there. Thanks, Bruce. What's going on, Bruce?
Yeah, what up, Bruce? We'll see you this Sunday, man. We'll be over at Sean's for the Bears-Niners game. Jedediah says, I wouldn't even trust Eberflus to keep the Gatorade coolers topped off. That's Jedediah is good for funny, for sure. I mean, sometimes I don't understand what he's even talking about, but it's still funny. And Mello, I want to thank you. I got the notification that you subscribed, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining us.
Mello. Thank you, Mello.
Stick with us. Come back with us next Thursday. Come back.
I'll never call you Tom again.
Mello from here on out. Appreciate you, boss. He says, unfortunately, I don't think TB will get the job no matter what. The odds are stacked against him really high, Mello. Really high. If he overcomes it, then God damn it, that's a underdog story for the ages, and he should be rewarded for that, and he will be, because football's a meritocracy, man. If you get what you get on merit, and if Thomas Brown earns this shit, he will get this shit. Whether it's with if the Bears if he earns it and the Bears are stupid enough to let him walk, some other team's gonna give him what he earned. So
yeah, but Mello's right. They'll probably hire like Tony La Russa or something.
This is just like the draft. The Bears can't afford to miss.
1 hour luck.
So what you were talking about was this Bears defense and how they were performing, and I thought, and things that they were doing well that you got to keep those.
Dustin, real quick, the most important thing, guys, we can't lose sight of, and Dustin will agree with this, and we all agree with this, Bears fans. The one thing that I want to see Thomas Brown to continue, no matter what happens to Thomas Brown, guys, whether he's the head coach or he's not, whether he wins games or he doesn't, you can't lose sight of what's important, even if you're Thomas Brown and you're thinking about your future. Yeah. Even if you're Thomas Brown, you're thinking about your future as a head coach in this football league. You know how you're going to do that? You know how you're going to get a head coaching job, or just you're going to keep your future moving forward? Is
take
by
care
making
of Caleb
sure
Williams.
Caleb Williams plays the best football Caleb Williams can play for the final 5 weeks of this season.
Take care of Caleb Williams. Yeah. And I'll say this, man. I don't think Thomas Brown is that dude at all. I don't think Thomas Brown is the guy that's going to get selfish and start thinking about himself.
No, he said it in a press.
No,
he said
I
it.
don't think
my focus remains on developing the rookie quarterback.
I didn't hear him say that specifically.
No, it wasn't. It was a paraphrase, but he was talking about the importance of still doing that versus being.
I just get that vibe from him that he's just going to be about his business and he's going to take care of the process, and then hopefully that process will take care of him. I think that he's that type of dude. But we were talking about maintaining the things that this Bears team was doing well, which was like, red zone scoring against for that defense. That defense is playing really well. Eric Washington is moving into this defensive coordinator position. Multiple coaching changes, right? Beatty went to the offensive coordinator position. He said not much is going to change for him. Eric Washington is now the play caller for this defense. Matt Eberflus, for everything we can say about him, this defense played well. They started to give up on him. You could see it in the last 3 weeks. They started to give up on him. If they hadn't, they probably would have played better, honestly. But this defense has played well under Matt Eberflus. Are we going to see that continue to remain the same, at least stay the course? Or are we going to see that get better? Or are we going to see that get worse with Eric Washington taking over this role for the Bears as the defensive coordinator and the play caller, Brandon?
I don't know why. I really don't know. I don't know where I'm basing this. I think the rush defense is going to get worse, Dustin.
Okay. Why? You said you don't know where you're basing it from.
Because I don't think they have the talent on their interior line to begin with, and the idea that Eric Washington is a rookie play caller, by the way, as old as this guy is, he has not called plays in the NFL. So I think the injuries are too much to overcome with Billings and Brisker for this guy to turn that around. I do see that slipping because Flus
says the rush D can't get worse.
Flus was at least it can. We saw it 2 years ago, guys. They allowed 173 yards a game. It can. And they didn't have an Andrew Billings on the football team. And then Jaquan Brisker had a concussion that year that took him out for 4 weeks. This can get worse. And I think the secondary is talented enough for even a new play caller to. They're going to lock down, man. That's what those guys do. If I got Garendo, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Garendo's going to run all over the Bears.
If I got him on my fantasy team, he's probably my number one running back this week, guys. I definitely think that the rush defense slips a little bit.
I was able to pick him up.
What's important to me? what's important to me is, Dustin, let me ask you this. Do you think Eric Washington can maintain the red zone efficiency on defense?
That's the biggest thing, man. That's where this team has been its strongest. It's that bend don't break stuff. What I would foresee happening, Brandon, that you didn't mention, and you were talking about the rush defense, the run defense. This pass rush has been lackluster. Just not developing a lot of pressure, not developing a lot of sacks. Montez Sweat is not living up to his contract. He is not a TJ Watt level of player. He's just not a Nick Bosa level of player, a Myles Garrett level of player. He's just not that guy. And unfortunately, the Bears paid him like he is. This Bears pass rush is going to be the key to Eric Washington having success with this defense. And what I would like to see, and listen, you're playing with house money if you're Eric Washington, blitz. Fucking call up Brian Flores if he'll talk to you. Watch Brian Flores film. Fucking blitz, dude. Eric Washington needs to be drawing up blitzes. You're playing with house money. You got nothing to lose. Get after that fucking quarterback. Your pass rush, your four linemen ain't doing it. Blitz. If Eric Washington blitzes, I think this team can cause some havoc on offenses, man.
And you got the Kyler, man.
You got Kyler, who's a great blitzer. You got Brisker coming back potentially, who's a great blitzer. You have those two linebackers that can shoot the gaps really well. I would be thinking, how often can I blitz and get away?
I think you got three linebackers that do a quality job of getting back there, man. Jack Sanborn's got a quality amount of sacks for the amount of time he's on the field.
I'm not gonna really put him into the equation
too much this year,
but like, yeah, and I'm not saying blitz 50% of the time like Brian Flores. I'm saying be opportunistic with your blitzes and think about using it more often, I think, than it was being used previously. Mello doesn't seem to agree with me, but
Dustin, like you said, when you're blitzing those linebackers, you're leaving your guys in man. And if you're Eric Washington, you should identify that that's
a good year to watch, Jedediah.
That's a strength of yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, what it boils down to for me is if you don't get pressure on a quarterback, especially these quarterbacks they're playing, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, the Lions got pressure on him very much in that first half of that game, and that's why he sucked ass in the first half of that game. Geno Smith, even. I mean, these guys, Sam Darnold. Yeah, you get pressure on these guys. They're going to make mistakes.
I'm guessing the Bears, the five quarterbacks the Bears have remaining on their schedule are probably all top 15 quarterbacks.
Yep. But so you're going to need to get pressure on them. And with the way this pass rush has been going with just the 4 down linemen, I'm thinking, how do I incorporate the blitz more into my defensive packages? That's what I'm thinking if I'm Eric Washington. And honestly, I'm trying to make a statement with that. I'm trying to show people that I could be the next Brian Flores, potentially, that type of guy, because Eric Washington is not just he's trying out for his next job because it most likely won't be here next year. So, I mean, if I was him,
Eric, that's what I'd be Washington, can he dictate his personnel? Because towards the end of Flus's tenure here, Dustin, it's been kind of strange, right? We've seen a lot of guys like Martin, guys that just didn't play very often early in the season, and then you got Tyreek Stevenson who's come off the field and then put back on. It's like Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson are trading every quarter,
rotating,
which is weird because one of them is better in your eyes. There's no doubt.
And honestly,
they both sucked. They're completely level playing. There's the exact same guy. They're just as good and bad as each other. One of them's better.
So you want to see the Bears make a decision. You want to see Eric Washington make a decision on that. You rarely see cornerbacks getting subbed out at that position like that. No, that doesn't happen often. It's been 3 weeks,
and
4
it's
weeks
not
of
like,
that now.
And Tyreek Stevenson's played for you for a year and a half, and it's not like Terrell Smith when he's out there is Jalen Johnson.
Lighting it on fire,
yeah. So
he's been bad too.
Hopefully Tyreek Stevenson's attitude changes because Eric Washington also comes off to me like a
no nonsense, no bullshit. Yeah. Do your fucking job.
If you came from Sean McDermott's staff, you're a no bullshit kind of guy. I firmly believe that.
We got a new person in the chat. I've never seen this name before. Exotic Justin Kim. What up, man?
What's up, man?
Thank you for man or
Justin.
Yeah, you could be Justin. You could
or both.
Kim's probably the last name.
You're a couple. No.
Yeah.
Hey,
anyways, hit that like button, Exotic Justin, and hit that subscribe button, man. We do this every Thursday. 4 Stars Chicago Sports has a Monday show. We'll be doing a Sunday show. We're also on Chicago Sports Podcast. Hit us up over there on Mondays as well. Tuesdays sometimes, Wednesdays. But yeah, hit that subscribe button, man. You get notifications when our shows are coming on, and we'd love to have you back. But we're happy to have you here today. He asked the question, when is Brisker coming back? I don't know that there's a timeline on that. I just know that Brisker was talking about he was back on the field in some capacity. Like
he made a tweet and said it feels good to be on grass again. That was
okay. So he's just walking outside in his front lawn.
He's literally on the field. No, he was on the field.
I get uniform. So like there's progression there. I would expect to see Brisker back at some point this season. If we don't, that's really bad for his career. So
if we don't, the Bears are going to be focused on safety in the offseason.
Well, and the other thing is Elijah Hicks is injured still. So, I mean, Owens.
I thought Jonathan Owens played a pretty fair game last week.
He did. Mello thinks the Bears have a good shot of beating San Francisco. They are pretty banged up. Yeah, I think that's a good segue. Is there anything else you want to touch on with Eric Washington or the coaching?
No, I think we banged. I think we got it all, dude. Like
I got good vibes from this coaching staff. I'll just say that. I'm excited to see what they put on the field.
The only question I have, you seem to have more knowledge over this guy than I do. Is Beatty worked with Thomas Brown for some time?
They've known, like I said, Beatty and Thomas Brown have a relationship going back to college. Beatty got him the job basically at Wisconsin as the running backs coach. So they
worked together.
They have worked together previously.
How did that work out?
Yeah, man, it's pretty fucking great. And like I said,
Beatty was already on this staff.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
So just to touch back on the fact that is immediately when Thomas Brown got this job, he went to Chris Beatty and said, "Listen, I know you're good at clock management. This is how I want to do this. I need your help with this." That syncrasy, like, am I saying that word right? That
symmetry, I think,
yeah, whatever. That is awesome, and I think it's going to be good for this team. It's going to be good for this offense. It's going to be good for game management. Exotic Justin says he liked and subscribed. Man, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
We appreciate that, man.
He asked, "Do you think if we go undefeated next 5 games, do we make the playoffs?"
No,
no, I don't.
The Bears currently have I think it's a 0.03% chance of making the playoffs.
Listen, 9-8 is you got a puncher's chance in the NFC for sure. But like in this NFC North, when you got 3 teams that already have at least 9 wins, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, the Bears are at less than 1%, and there's a couple of other teams that are tied with them at less than 1%. I mean,
yeah. I'm not foreseeing that in our future. Even if they go 5-0, it's going to be a tough sledding, but they're not going to go 5-0. That's if they go 5-0, I'll be amazed, and
I will be amazed if Thomas Brown gets the best of Kyle Shanahan.
and that's what.
Let's get into it.
That's what Melo's talking about here. San Francisco being pretty banged up. The Bears are pretty damn banged up too, guys. Our injury report as of today reads as this. For the Bears, Keenan Allen did not participate yesterday, but he's a full participant today. Did not participate for the Bears. We got Ryan Bates with the concussion, Elijah Hicks with the ankle, Roshan with the concussion, DJ Moore with a quad. Now, listen, I'll say this right now. I'll be shocked if DJ Moore doesn't play. This guy is a fucking gamer. He shows up, which makes it so funny when people call him out for walking off the sideline on that play. Fuck you all. DJ Moore is a gamer. He will show up. And then Swift with the quad, too. We got
hold.
Nope.
No, that's okay. But DJ Moore's had some issues.
Yeah, DJ Moore is who DJ Moore is, but he shows up for every fucking game, man. This guy does not miss very many games.
I agree, but I'm not going to brush it off like the guy hasn't at some points of this season almost made it feel like he's against his rookie quarterback.
Well, Melo's with you. He doesn't like DJ Moore either.
I don't dislike him. I think that he's discouraged his rookie. I think he's not let his rookie quarterback to believe that he believes in him sometimes.
Potentially, he was discouraged by the offensive coordinator, the offensive game plan. The guy got targeted 16 times this past Thursday, so I think he's a lot happier now.
We'll see. We'll see where DJ Moore goes, man. DJ Moore's press conference about at the end of the day, his press conference.
At the end of the day, Jalen Johnson's interview,
Oh,
guys.
that was Jalen.
That was Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson says
Yeah.
at the end of the day, every other
Yeah.
fucking word.
At the
It's
end of
literally a
every
part of
day,
every sentence. It's
at the end of
hilarious.
every day, he lays his head on his pillow and says, "At
Guys,
the end of
go
the day."
listen. If you didn't hear the interview with I think it was Spiegel and Holmes,
Yeah, that's the new show.
or
Yes, that's
the other S.
Parkins got
Yeah,
Spiegel
yeah,
and
yeah,
Holmes.
yeah.
Matt Spiegel is actually a
Jalen
really good reporter.
Johnson. At the end of the day, it's just the end of the day. Tomorrow's a new day at the end of the day. Listen to it, man. It's fucking hilarious. Anyways, the injury report limited. Bayard limited with the shoulder. Coleman Shelton limited with the knee. Darnell Wright limited with the knee. The limiteds, I mean, we're probably going to get full participation tomorrow, and we'll see.
No, but Dustin, realistic guys, this has to be concerned. Anybody who's on this injury report, they have had long time since the last time they played football. They played football on Thursday, guys. We're going on a week. If there's guys not participating in practice, that's if we're going guys aren't participating in practice, that's a big deal. No, I mean today. We're a week removed from the last game. If you're not in practice, something's bothering you for sure.
Listen, the chat really likes this DJ Moore conversation. I wanted to brush it over. Do you want to? I mean, we got Jedediah. Yeah, I'm not sold on DJ Moore. He was a big
DJ Moore, guys. I don't want to get this twisted. DJ Moore's a phenomenal football player. You're a better football team with him on your football team. I just think this DJ Moore's body language hasn't been the most encouraging for a rookie quarterback. You don't want a receiver who's showing a rookie quarterback in any way, shape, or form that he's frustrated visibly. If he wants to pull him aside after a game and say, "Hey man, trust me, throw the ball where it's supposed to be. You kind of overthrow me. You're staying away from corners. I got these guys." If there's a conversation that needs to be had between these two, that's fine. If DJ Moore is kind of walking to the sideline, like, "I don't want to fucking be here anymore," that's not good. And there was a game, guys, where DJ Moore got discouraged. And I'm going to be honest. There's one thing you can say about DJ Moore: he gets discouraged, like a young child. This guy gets discouraged. And Caleb Williams,
Keenan Allen's going to play.
Your rookie quarterback walked over to the bench where DJ Moore was holding his head between his legs, talked to him. Caleb Williams talked to DJ Moore on the sideline after a missed pass, and on the very next drive, he threw him like a 26-yard touchdown or something like that. I don't remember what they touched, but DJ Moore definitely needs encouragement. I think that he needs to be kind of coddled along. That's what I believe about DJ Moore. I think that people need to encourage. I think people need to validate to him that his efforts will eventually result in winning. The same as Jalen Johnson. Both these guys are discouraged by losing football games, guys. They're getting tired of it. They both played a lot of football in their careers. They want to play in a fucking playoff game.
They want to play for a winner.
But you got to approach the game like you're a rookie, man. I mean, you got to approach the game like every opportunity is still an opportunity for you to better your life.
Well, Brandon, that's a natural thing for human beings in general. If they're working really hard at something and not seeing results, to get discouraged. I mean, that's why the Sisyphus thing exists. You push the boulder up the hill and it just goes down, and you don't have to tell me. Listen, you just made a strong point on DJ Moore. Let me come back and say, this past Thursday, you were knocking him in our group text throughout that entire fucking game, saying don't throw him the ball as he's catching a touchdown to get back in that game. So everyone who wants to talk about DJ Moore not being
Dustin, you said the chat wants to talk about it.
We're talking about it.
Well, why does the chat want to talk about DJ Moore?
The chat wants to talk about DJ Moore because people are reading into him differently than what he actually is, man.
Because he's being
DJ Moore is honest every time he talks. He does interviews. He's not hiding from nothing. I don't think he needs to be validated by anybody. I think DJ Moore finds validation from within.
I don't either, but I do believe that if DJ Moore is making headlines, that's never for the best reason, man. It's just not. If you're an individual player on a football team, if you're an individual player on a football team and there's a video going viral of you walking off the side, like, that's just not good. It's not good no matter what. You could say, "Oh, he had a tweak and he got a stinger." It doesn't matter. If you're in the media for doing things that people are questioning your integrity, it's not good. It's not a good light. It's not a good light to be painted in. And I'll say this: DJ Moore has produced results when he's given the opportunity, but he still has
DJ Moore plays his ass off.
But you still have to show Ryan Poles that you want to be a part of this. There's no doubt about that.
DJ Moore is paid, and he is a part of this. DJ Moore is a part of this, Brandon.
Who's
He's
more important, Caleb Williams or DJ Moore?
Obviously, Caleb Williams, but
so
those
the
two need
minute
to work
that you
together
feel like as
to
a
develop
GM, if there's a minute, if
a
there's
receiver quarterback connection.
There's a single moment where you feel like DJ Moore might not help the development of Caleb Williams. That's the writing on the wall. But as long
that
as
moment will never exist. Everyone
I'm
wants
not
to
saying
make
that
more
it will,
of it
Dustin.
than it
I'm
is.
saying why this is a concern. There are
it was a good idea for us to brush over.
There's people who have gone on social media and said trade DJ Moore. I don't believe that that's
What's up, KO
beneficial.
Sports Talk?
I don't believe that's beneficial to your future. But when you start to create those headlines and those narratives, you can do one of two things. You can fix it, or you can keep it going in the same direction. Because right now,
has DJ Moore fixed it?
Right now, the writing on the wall. Right now, it looks like Tyreek Stevenson's future is the Chicago Bears going in the wrong direction.
Has DJ Moore fixed it?
I don't know. We'll see.
You don't know. Are you not seeing him on the field? Is he
not?
Is he no longer
happier.
blocking?
He looks happier since
is he not running routes? Is he
Dustin,
doing all? Is he not doing all the things everyone said he wasn't doing? Is he not
happier
performing
since he's been catching the ball? But you can't
like every receiver in the NFL. Like every receiver in the NFL. That's how he gets paid.
You can't only be happy when you're catching the ball.
Hey, KO Sports Talk is a new person in the chat. I've never seen your name before. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're here multiple days a week. Get the notifications. Yeah, man. Thank you. He says you're right, Brandon. I vehemently disagree with all of you guys. I think DJ Moore's behavior has been read into far higher than it should
but
be.
I think sometimes you don't. You didn't in Tyreek Stevenson's situation. You don't. You just don't. Sometimes
Tyreek Stevenson has been god awful. He's just been really bad,
and his attitude's not good.
Yeah, for sure. But DJ Moore does not have an attitude
that's
problem.
What's in question?
That's not for me. Not for me. I am not in question of DJ Moore's attitude.
I think the general population of Bears fans does question that slightly. I believe that there's validity to why DJ Moore's name just created a chat talk for sure.
For sure, because listen, it blew up. It's been a big story.
And Tyreek Stevenson would do the same.
When's the last time we heard anything about this?
If we question Darnell Wright's
DJ Moore had 16 targets, 8 catches on Thursday. If we caught a touchdown, but
if you question Cole Kmet's or Darnell Wright's integrity, or they're wanting to play for this team, nobody would even say a word in the chat because it's not a conversation to be had.
DJ Moore shouldn't have left the field when play was still going on. It painted a bad narrative about him. And then on top of it, guys, I mean, the fuel to the fire for all of this was DJ Moore commenting on the draft possibilities of Caleb Williams in the offseason before the Bears even traded Justin Fields.
And then another player.
He said Justin Fields is better than any quarterback that's in this draft as far as I'm concerned. He's my quarterback. He created a narrative that didn't need to exist. He shouldn't.
That was hilarious.
He put his foot in his mouth. He shouldn't have said that. And I think a lot that is what has lent itself to all of this stuff becoming bigger than it actually is. That's what I believe. And I know you slightly agree with me on that because we've talked about that before.
I like DJ Moore, man. I do. I like DJ Moore, but I think if there's ever to me, what you see is what you get. If something's occurring, if people are talking about something, the person is responsible for doing it, right? Like if we're all questioning what's going on with DJ Moore, his body language has been kind of weird, then it is. It is. If all of us are doing the same thing,
Brandon, you said don't throw the ball to DJ Moore right before he caught a touchdown in that game.
Okay, you keep bringing that up, but you're negating the fact that we're even having this conversation right now.
Yeah, and we're on two very different sides of this conversation for a reason.
I wanted to move on from the DJ Moore conversation because it seems to me as if no matter what DJ Moore does, you believe he's not a problem. There is a point where this becomes a problem.
Listen, if I'm looking at the list of problems for the Chicago Bears, how long am I going before I get to DJ Moore? Give me a break.
We're talking about one thing specifically right now, Dustin. One thing. If you believe that if you're a fan and you believe that the body language of a player says I don't want to fucking do this, you're gonna question the player. That's just how it goes. Okay, you're talking about a guy. The Packers defense is mentioning the fact that this guy walked off the fucking field, dude. That's not good. That's
Xavier McKinney was talking shit about DJ Moore before we even got to that.
You don't want to give your opponent context to call you a pussy. You don't want to do that. Like that's not good for your reputation
I
It's
don't
not.
think DJ Moore gives a shit, and I don't think he should. Listen, this is a story for another day. DJ Moore, I think, is on the injury report, did not participate, but watch him play, guys. Watch him
I think he
come out
will.
and
I
play.
absolutely think
That's
he
all
will.
I'm
Yeah.
saying.
And DJ Moore is probably one of those guys that's given a day or two if he needs it.
All right, so we went through the Bears injury report. That was that was cool. Now on to the
DJ Moore
Niners.
report.
Yep, the DJ Moore report. We should call it. We should do a show just on DJ Moore. Did not participate for the Niners. Aaron Banks, he's the guard for them. Bosa, that's encouraging. If Bosa's not playing, that's encouraging. That's huge. The Bears injury report is long, but the Niners is pretty long too. Jordan Mason did not participate. Trent Williams, again, not playing for the Niners potentially this week. That is huge for this Niners offense. Trent Williams is the key to everything for them.
Jordan Mason is not going to play this football.
Jordan Mason was on. Listen, they're talking about putting him on IR. They haven't yet. He's DNP as of right now, so I just got to bring him up. Trent Williams, I don't think is going to play in this game. Limited was Dre Greenlaw, who's a really good linebacker for them. Hufanga, the safety, strong safety, good player for them as well.
One of the best in the league, I think.
Diamador Lenore, who just got a contract as one of the best cornerbacks in the league, it was limited as well. Purdy's going to play. Purdy was limited, but he will be playing. So I mean, this injury report for the Niners is pretty encouraging for the Bears in terms of not having some really major talent on the field, some important pieces for the Niners. So it kind of turns into a draw. If some of these guys don't play for the Bears, which it don't look like a few of them will, Bates isn't going to, Hicks isn't going to, Roschon is not going to. DJ Moore and Swift, God, I hope they play. If those guys don't play, it's going to be really tough. The Bears just signed Dimitri.
And don't forget, this Niners team also has Ayuk on IR. This Niners team has probably faced the most unfortunate guys.
Oh, thank you, KO Sports Talk. Trent Williams, their newest born child passed away. That was very sad, very sad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
He's probably not going to play as well.
No,
I don't know. I don't know if I could do life after that.
And I wouldn't hold it against him.
No, I'm saying I don't.
That right there just goes supports what I was just saying. This Niners.
Yeah, we were going to gloss over that. Thank you, KO Sports Talk. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, he's definitely not going to play. And if I was him, I would not. I don't know when I would be able to go back about life after something like that happens. That's like what's really important in life. You know what I'm saying? Fuck.
You just need good people in your life support each other. I hope they're doing okay, man. We hope the best for that family, obviously, but
we don't expect to see
the Niners. The Niners have faced so much misfortune this season, man. It's just the Niners.
It's been the season from hell.
They were in a Super Bowl last year,
and should have won.
We're talking about whether or not they win a division that sucks. So this is not going well for the Niners, and I think the Bears are going to take advantage of the state in which the Niners are in currently.
Mello says Brock Purdy is playing. That's great for the Bears. KO Sports says if that happened to him, he would probably retire. Prayers to his family. Prayers up to Trent Williams and his family. It's definitely, man, like you're saying, some unprecedented, your rookie number one draft pick gets shot in the chest before the season starts.
Yeah, it's really just trickled down from there, man.
Everything is, and the Ayuk holdout, and then Ayuk goes down for the season. I mean, it's just been crazy for the Niners. So they've been dealing with a lot of adversity. They are
Debo can't seem to just.
Debo's going to play. Debo's going to play, but will he stay on the field?
I know, but I'll say this, man. Yeah. I'll say this. He's on my fantasy team, and I always want to plug him in, but I'm always scared that, in the middle of the first quarter, the guy's going to leave on a cart. So, it's just
Debo's kind of like their Tevin Jenkins. When Tevin Jenkins takes the field, I expect him to go out of the game at some point. And Debo's kind of that guy for the Niners.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, Niners are 5-7, Bears are 4-8. It's in San Francisco. What do you think about this game, man? Are you excited for it? You nervous for it? You said you think the Bears have a chance to win this game.
I'm really excited, man, because when the Bears were playing on the road under Matt Eberflus, I just assumed they're going to lose. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I got a Sunday.
We were because they've never won. Because they never won on a Sunday on the road.
I'm excited that this is the first road game without Matt Eberflus. This is exhilarating.
He was the common denominator. Remove him from the equation. Yeah. Maybe the answer is different.
So Dustin, let's I don't want to jump back all the way back into the Thomas Brown, but let's just say right off the bat, if you win a game on the road on a Sunday,
You've
Thomas,
already done
for
what the
your
previous
first
guy had not
game
done. Yeah,
as
yeah,
the
yeah.
head coach, some with the Bears haven't done 18 games. I'm already feeling good about Thomas Brown, guys. I'm just saying that for sure. Like, so but I do think this, man, like you just said, there's something weird going on in that San Francisco organization. They've just been hit with the bug. And Dustin, you've mentioned it before. The problem with success, guys, in the NFL is consistent success is you're playing a lot of football. These guys are just consistently playing football. They're playing football longer than everybody else all year long, all the time. And
Yeah.
they're beat
Going
up.
to NFC
They're
championships, Super
beat up.
Bowls. Yeah.
This year their health is just broken, and that is
And
typically to
there's
be expected, and so is the Chiefs. Look at the Chiefs have lost multiple players for like season ending. Pacheco's out for a long time. Rashi Rice is done for the year. Marquise Brown wasn't there last year, but
no,
they've
yeah.
had some major injuries too, man. So like these teams that play deep into the playoffs and all the way to the Super Bowl, they're playing a lot of football. So I think this Niners team, guys, is broken. I was talking to Dustin a few weeks ago about betting them. Did for $2, but I'm not going to win
I
that
told
bet.
you not to, and I'm a
This team is
Niners
not
fan. I root for the Niners. Yeah,
this
I
team is
told you
not
not to.
not only not winning this division. I think they actually might finish last place in this division, which is where they currently stand. The
Listen,
Bears are not a good team to face when you're not playing your best football. Brock Purdy's about to have his hands full, guys. I have Brock Purdy in fantasy, and it says next to him in a little red 32. That means that is the least successful team to play, the Chicago Bears, as a quarterback in fantasy football. It's going to be a tough road, no matter whether or not they're at home. And I think Thomas Brown is going to. Guys, there is definitely there's something happens when a team believes in something. You know what I mean, Dustin? Courtney Cronin reported these guys were smiles. They're laughing. Caleb Williams was dancing at practice.
it's
Guys,
the new coach effect.
yeah.
It's the new
So
coach effect.
yes.
It's
So
there.
they're
It's
they're gonna
live
come out here having
and in full
fun.
effect.
And I've preached this on this show, bare minimum. They're gonna come out having fun. And when you're having fun, when this football team's having fun, they're at their best. They are at their best. And Caleb is probably going to show out against this Niners team that hasn't been doing very good against the opposing passer too.
So we're talking about the Niners. They're 5-7. They still have a chance at their division, like mathematically. They play the Bears this week, and then they got to turn around on Thursday and play a divisional game against the Rams. So the Niners have a really tough week coming up here. The next 7 days for them are going to be hugely important. It's going to decide where their season.
And the Bears had their mini bye.
And the Bears and the Niners have really struggled on defense this year. It was a major calling card for them the last couple of years. Even with Wilkes last year, they were able to perform well on defense. This year, not so much. They're not able to stop the run. And if you don't have Bosa, it's a completely different defense than when Bosa's on the field. That it just changes so drastically. The amount of pressure that Bosa creates and the amount of pressure he allows other people to create by taking attention from that offensive line and the pass protection. I mean, it makes a huge difference to the Niners' two most important players are Trent Williams and Bosa. Nick Bosa and Trent Williams are their two most important players. And when they're not on the field, the Niners are a completely different team. So that gives the Bears a puncher's chance in this game
And
going on the road.
And their third most impactful player is Christian McCaffrey, who's also not on the field. So this team is just missing
major
all the pieces that make the difference, man. And I want to say this, guys, because we guys over the course of this season, the 4 stars on the show here, 4 Star Chicago Sports, we've had a debate over whether or not Brock Purdy is a good player, and he's
a hell of a quarterback.
He's gotten a lot of shit this year, but guys, you don't overcome this. I mean, you're talking about Trent Williams, your left tackle, Christian McCaffrey, your starting running back, Brandon Ayuk, your number 1 wide receiver, because he is
multiple games without George Kittle, games without Debo.
Kittle have both missed time, and then Juwan Jennings, when Ayuk went out, and the game that
Jennings
Debo went
snapped, caught 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and then Jennings got injured the following week. So it's like no matter what,
they can't get a rhythm.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. This has just been weird. It's and
2 steps forward, 4 steps back.
Got shot. I mean, like it's just been weird. It's been weird, and I don't necessarily love the Bears over anybody. This Niners team has got some overcomable shit going on right now, Dustin. If
Let's
you ask
touch
me.
on what Melo's saying here. He thinks if the Bears can get 100 on the ground with Caleb and the running backs, they can win. The run game could take a really big hit if DeAndre Swift does not play. You already don't have Roshan
I
Johnson.
don't think this team gets passed on, man.
Oh, the Niners?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the Niners defense has been gettable in multiple areas throughout this season, more so than I expected them to be. But against the run, they are potentially gettable. Caleb is going to have to run the football to find success. It's going to happen because the Niners will, like you said, if they're healthy in their secondary, Fred Warner as well, he covers so much ground in pass coverage. He's going to make it tough on Caleb Williams.
Well, I think
and he'll also spy Caleb Williams. So Caleb's going to have to be smart when he's running. Don't be doing that shit you did in Detroit, trying to stop short on the sideline. Get your ass out of bounds. Don't take a hit. Fred Warner will kill you, Caleb Williams.
Well,
Fred
I think
Warner
it's safe to say we can. All the viewers seem like you guys seem like, Mello. Everybody in here tonight, Bruce. You're always adult. KO. You're all diehard sports fans. Thomas Brown definitely utilizes Caleb Williams as a runner. That's something we're going to see for the rest of this year, right, Dustin? I mean, we saw fourth down, like direct runs for Caleb Williams, or some options, but he's drawing things up. Yeah, he's drawing things up for Caleb Williams to carry the football. So that is definitely going to happen. And I agree with and Dustin, me and you talked about this early in the season. I think I said it on a bare minimum show. It needs to happen for the Bears offense to be successful. That he has to present that element of his game, guys, just to at least tell a defense,
you got to now think about this.
I can.
Yeah,
so,
you got to now think about
this. Don't make me, because if you try to make me, I will.
I'm gonna fucking kill you with it. Yes.
So
and then now once you're worried about him running, then he can start hitting you over the top. It's
and he has almost 400 yards rushing.
It's a very crucial part of Caleb Williams' game.
And he has almost 400 yards rushing. So he still does present, Dustin, that threat to where defenses have to you cannot think of Caleb Williams as just a pocket passer. You cannot approach him that way. And even if he's not running, guys, the way that this guy gets out of the pocket and throws those. Those.
If he's maneuvering to make a throw, he's maneuvering in the pocket and then outside of the pocket, he's still very dangerous. Now, listen, if the Bears can get, I think you need 130 yards rushing probably in this game. Do I think the Bears can get it if they don't have DeAndre Swift on the field and no Roshan Johnson? No, I don't think they can. Caleb ain't going to run for over 100 yards by himself. They got Travis Homer.
I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be like a 3 touchdown passing game for Caleb.
Really? You think he's going to put up 3? Oh, okay. Interesting. I mean, if they can get they obviously need to get the run game going. We've been screaming for that all year. They finally started to do it. Now DeAndre Swift is out and Roshan's out. So I don't know how well your offense can produce in the run game in this game. If DeAndre Swift doesn't play, we really got to cross our fingers that DeAndre Swift plays, guys. Because if he does, he'll get off. And that'll be important to the Bears winning this game.
Yeah.
And Caleb rushing as well, obviously.
Yeah, and you got to think, man, Thomas Brown is still theoretically running Shane Waldron's offense. And Shane Waldron had success against this Niners team with Geno Smith as a quarterback. So I think the Caleb will be able to pass the ball against this team. I think they'll move the chains. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where he's more successful. He's had a few games as of late where he's hitting the 20-yarders, the 25-yarders, the 30-yarders, the big plays. I think he's going to be able to just Keenan Allen this. You know what I mean? Dustin, Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen this game. Move the chains. Probably, I'm going to guess he throws around 30 times.
I like this comment from Mello about Caleb in the pocket, leveling up and leveling down, stepping up into the pocket, working the pocket, and then to make the throw in a tight pocket with people coming at him. Caleb is great at that. And I said this, man, before he got drafted, this guy is kind of Drew Breesy. Drew Brees in the pocket, guys. More mobile Drew Brees in terms of how he maneuvers that pocket. So
the touchdown like to DJ Moore. His throw was completely impeded. He didn't follow through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The pass to DJ Moore, the touchdown against Detroit, he has to stop his arm because his offensive lineman is literally inches away from him, and we've seen that cause broken we've seen that cause like 4-week injuries to quarterbacks. Russell Wilson literally has done this twice, where his finger got caught up on an offensive lineman's head, and he literally stops his throw like half motion, and it still gets to DJ Moore in the end zone, right over the shoulder too, man.
He's got a perfect arm for
this
playing
kid is
quarterback.
special, man.
No, he is. Oh yeah, I think he's gonna have a good game. I hope so. I think Garendo, for the running back for the Niners, is gonna have a really good game against this Bears run defense. I think the Bears are gonna have trouble establishing the run if they don't have at least Swift on the field. So those things are gonna kind of balance out. Maybe Caleb has a better game than Purdy. I don't know. Purdy, again, I mean, he's a better quarterback than people give him credit for, and he will make you pay if you give him the time to make the throw, if you don't get pressure on him. So the Bears pass rush is gonna be very important in this game too, man. And are they gonna be able to generate one?
I think the Bears,
I don't know.
This Niners team, man, is allowing teams to score. I think the Bears are going to get in the red zone, and the Bears
score in the red zone.
The one thing I'll say, Dustin, about their rushing is they don't really. They either score at the goal line, like on the 1, or DeAndre Swift runs like a 50-yard touchdown. When they're in the red zone scoring touchdowns, Caleb Williams is throwing touchdowns, and I believe they're going to get in the red zone against the San Francisco team, and I think Caleb's going to get a few passing touchdowns for sure.
Guys, we're coming to the moment. It's been an hour and a half. If y'all got scores predictions for this game,
guys, if you think the Bears are going to win this football game, hit the like button down low.
They already all better have hit the like button. But if y'all got score predictions, put them in. Yeah, obviously hit the like button if you haven't already. But if you got score predictions, drop them in here with us. We can discuss them. Me and Brandon will bullshit a little longer before we give our scores, because we're about to get out of here shortly. But if y'all got score predictions, we want to hear what they are. Give a comment and leave your score predictions in the comments after the video is done, please. That'd be cool. So expecting a big game from Caleb, hoping that we have some combination of DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift on the field, because those two are hugely important to this offense. The Niners are just as banged up as the Bears. It's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a very competitive game. Exotic Justin says, I don't know, we win by like 2 touchdowns. Okay. I like his gusto on that. Bears win by 2 touchdowns.
Well, and real quick, Dustin, did the Bears bring a running back on the roster?
I mentioned him earlier, Demetric Felton. He was on their practice. He was on the team earlier in the season, I believe. He's played for the Browns. He's not very good at running the football.
So if they did that, that's not a good sign, guys.
Yeah, the running game really needs DeAndre Swift, guys. I don't like Travis Homer and Demetric Felton being our go-to options in the run game. That's no good. Caleb Williams will need to run for 100 yards if that's the case.
Well, Roshan Johnson is your guy. He's going to be a bell haul. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the concussion, I don't expect him to even have a chance, man. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully he clears protocol. I mean, we would love to see Roshan Johnson. I'm kind of already counting him out and hoping for DeAndre Swift. But if we get both of them, my God, thank God. Mello says 30-17. He thinks Komet's going to have a big day, man. That's awesome. 30-17 Bears. Yeah, I figured that. 30-17 Bears. Komet will have a big day. What do you got, man? How do you think this game's going to play out? What's your final score prediction? And what are you bringing for alcohol over to Sean's on Sunday?
I think the Bears are going to win this game.
I want to drink some of it.
I think the Bears offense is going to continue to do what they've done the last 3 weeks, guys, against some really good football teams. I think Caleb's going to continue to play the way he's played over the last 3 weeks against some really good football teams. The Bears are going to score. I'm going to give the Bears 28, but I am going to give this is Eric Washington's first stint on the road. Like I said, guys, I think Garendo is going to have a good day, a really good day.
Yes,
I really do. Is. I'm going to say that the Niners scored 21.
You got Bears 28, Niners 21, Bears winning on the road at San Francisco. How many touchdown passes does Caleb Williams have?
I think all 3 touchdowns are Caleb passing the ball.
Well, you just listed 4 touchdowns. So what's the other?
Well, okay. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm going to stick with 3. I'm going to say 3. I'm going to say 3. I don't know. I don't like saying, Dustin, if they're without Swift and Roshan, I don't like saying a running back gets in the end.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't feel confident about that.
Maybe Caleb runs for one too.
unless like there's a player that they use as like DJ Moore runs the touchdown
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Like that's how I see that playing out. So I'll say that Caleb throws 3, and somebody like Roma Dunze or DJ Moore carries a ball in the end zone if they're without their running backs. Man.
I
But I
think
believe Caleb's capable of throwing 4 against this football team. Man, the way Caleb is playing really good football right now.
if they can't get pressure on Caleb, it's going to be a long day for the Niners. I think our offensive line will be basically intact. You know, Shelton and Wright were limited, but they'll probably be full participants tomorrow and on the field. So I think if they can't get pressure on Caleb, and they don't have Bosa, so they won't. If Bosa doesn't play, then Caleb is going to have a very good day. I can agree with that.
Did you give your score?
I haven't. I was commenting on yours. I was commenting on what you were saying, and I was about to get into mine. Yes, the Bears are going to be very competitive in this game on Sunday. It's in San Francisco. It's a late afternoon game. They're going to have the new coach effect going. They're all going to be playing super hard for Thomas Brown. They're going to have a lot of good energy, a lot of good vibes, and it's going to be a fucking good game. Remember, we were looking at this game a couple months ago, going into the season, even a few weeks ago. Like, the Bears stood no chance in this game. Now the Niners are banged up. They don't have C-Mac anymore, and they've just been on this slide. And we're looking at this like, holy shit, we can get one. The Bears can get one. But I don't think they're going to. The Niners have too much to play for still in terms of they're not eliminated from even winning their division as of right now. They have a chance if they beat the Bears on Sunday to then turn around and beat the Rams on Thursday and go to 7-7. The Bears are going to be competitive and play hard all season. They really are. But I think the Niners, just the fact that they're at home, both teams are banged up. Both teams have injury issues, very important ones. I give the Niners the edge.
Wait, so 7-7.
Can I give my score, you fuck?
Yeah.
28 Niners, 27 Bears. I think it's going to be a down-to-the-wire fucking close.
So you think game. Thomas Brown's going to lose a one-score game?
A 1-point game, his first game.
Yeah,
on the road,
you
man.
Just pitched that like the worst way I could hear it, dude. Literally.
Listen, if Caleb still can throw those 3 touchdowns in that scenario.
You're gonna think the Bears are up by 1 and get safetied with a second to go. Like, Jesus Christ.
No, it won't be that. It'll be like the Bears driving at the end of the game, but
you said, hold on, you said Niners 7-7, and when I told you I have a bet that the Niners win the division for $2, you said it's a bad bet.
It is.
So
it
what
is
are we
a
talking
bad
about
bet.
here right now?
We're talking about the
Niners
fact
win the next 2, and one of them being a divisional opponent that's in front of them, but my $2 bet is bad.
To me, it just comes down to the fact that the Niners are very well coached and they have something to play for, and I think they're going to show up for this game.
You don't think that the Bears have something to play for?
No, the Bears are playing for their future. The Bears are playing.
The Bears are playing for a guy now.
No, for sure. And that guy that guy, they're playing for his future.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're playing
to be their future.
Yeah.
Depending on how they play.
If they like Thomas Brown, they want to make him look good as possible so that they can make sure that he's still here next year when they come in. They get a good chemistry going.
Yeah, they want to
believe relationship going. So
they're
gonna want to win for him if they like him, which I think they do. So yeah, obviously they got something to play for, man. But listen, the Niners are at home. It's they're 2 pretty well-matched teams. It's going to be a very close game, I think. I think I had my original score. I wanted to go 24-23, but 28-27 sounds better, and I think it'll be a little more fun. Listen, this game could go either way. It's a coin flip game to me. You flip a coin. One day it'll be the Bears. One time it'll be the Bears. The next time it'll be the Niners.
Would that be the most points the Bears allowed this year?
Oh yeah, well the Lions just scored 23.
That would not make Eric Washington look like the right individual for the job.
Listen, there's a lot of change going on with this whole coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, I would love to see Eric Washington design a defense that shuts this Niners team down. But I'm in a conflicting position, man, because for anybody who doesn't know my backstory, my grandfather was like my dad, and he was a Niners fan from the time I remember football. So I've been rooting for the Niners longer than I've been rooting for the Bears. You know, I grew up in Chicago, so I became a Bears fan. Just they're on TV. They're my local team. You know, I've been a fan of both of them since I was fucking 6 years old, 5 years old, whatever. But I'm in a conflicting position here because like it's the Niners and the Bears. They're both my teams, and I know people don't really like that, but it is what it is. That's how it came up.
The,
So
the
I,
Niners have lost 3 straight. I know what you're going to say to me because you're right. The Bears have lost 6 straight. But
uh-huh.
the Niners have lost their last 2 games 35-10 and 38-10.
Who did they
And,
play, Brandon?
and I just
Who did
feel
they
like,
play? They didn't play the fucking Bears. They played
no,
the Buffalo
they
Bills
played
in Buffalo in a snowstorm, and they played the Green Bay Packers
They
at
played good
Lambeau Field.
football teams.
Yeah.
I think that, and they lost the game before that to the Seahawks.
And the game against the Packers, Brock Purdy didn't play. Trent Williams didn't
Yeah,
play. Bosa didn't. I mean, it was just they were
I
torn
just think
apart.
that they're headed in a worse direction. I think the Bears
I
have
think so
been
too.
playing better football as of late, and I think the Niners have been playing really poor football as of late. Like I said, man, I'm not choosing the Bears because I like the Bears over any opponent that they play this year. I just think this Niners team's got something going on that I can't put a word on it. I don't know what you
Okay,
call it,
but
man.
if you're the 49ers and you have the pedigree that they have, the winning history that this team has, aren't you looking at this game as a get right game? You're saying we this is going to be the game that
I
gets us
think
on track.
Dustin, I
This is
think the
their last breath.
Niners, I
If they
think
lose
the
this game, their
Niners,
season's done. They lose this game, their season's done. The Bears season's already done. So
I
they're
think the
playing for
Niners
more.
have looked at
They
a
are.
lot of games this season as a get right game, and it didn't get right.
Yeah, but if they lose this game, their season is done. Like they don't have a chance in their division. If they win this game and then turn around to play the Rams, I just feel like there's a lot of motivational factors for the Niners. The Bears have them too, but the Niners have more, and they have more history of finding ways to win in games that they need to win. This season's been awful, and I could just as easily see them taking a fucking nosedive to finish the season. The 49ers, they don't have really important pieces of their team on the field probably this Sunday, and they haven't for a while. So, and who knows when they're getting them back. So it could go very bad for the Niners. This could be a great game for the Bears to change the trajectory of their season and put Thomas Brown on the map and put everybody on notice that Thomas Brown is that guy. I'll be happy with either outcome, man, to be honest. I just personally think the Niners are going to win just because they are a better team and they're a better coach team, and Kyle Shanahan's at home and he's playing a fucking interim head coach who's coaching their first game. Like it's just there's too many things adding up against the Bears in my mind for me to pick them to win. That's just what it boils down to for me.
So can I ask you this, man? If you think that, I mean, obviously, like you said, it's first game against Kyle Shanahan, that's tough.
Yeah, and on the road.
If you think this Bears team loses to this Niners team, do you think that there's a game they can win for the rest? Because the teams they play are better. The rest of the teams they play are better than the Niners.
Yes, they are. I think that they'll beat the Vikings on Monday Night Football. I mean, we'll do a preview show of that. I imagine, but
at home, yeah.
I think the Bears beat the Vikings. I think they lose to the Lions because the Lions are just a fucking steamroller, just not stopping for anyone right now. I think, but that's going to be a close game. That's going to be a competitive game.
It's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago. Yes,
and
yes.
Goff is not. This is going to be Goff's worst game of the season.
Yeah, hopefully it snows. Hopefully it's snowing and it's wet and it's slippery and Jared Goff throws 5 interceptions again and the Bears win that game. That could be a coin flip game depending on the weather because like Goff sucks outside in bad weather. And then, but no, they'll beat the Seahawks at home for sure. They'll beat the Seahawks at home, and then they're going to go on the road and they're going to beat the Packers to finish the season and knock them out of the playoffs. I like that scenario. So I really do see 3-2 as a possibility. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know which games they're going to win or lose. I bet and I lose just like all of you guys. Like we lose.
The Niners and the Lions are the games they lose.
Yeah.
I think they beat the Lions at home, man.
I can see that. And I might change my tune, like I said, depending on how things start looking. I think this will be I think Thomas Brown's going to show himself very well in this game. It just might not be enough. He might not have had enough time. He's got to settle into this thing maybe, and like it's just going to get better as this 5-week stretch progresses. Thomas Brown is going to get better, and this Bears team is going to get better with him. It's just it's too much stacked up against him in this game in my mind.
Yeah, well, I just hope he didn't learn anything from the head coach that was to be a head coach.
Well,
He
listen,
didn't learn anything from the guy above him.
you learn from watching people do the fucking wrong thing just as much,
Yeah,
or
I
probably
guess. All
more.
right, yeah, you got
And
me.
yeah, shit, I know what not to do from seeing what people have done before me, and because like they show me that those are results you get when you do it that dumbass way. So yeah, I mean that could be a very beneficial thing for Thomas Brown to have seen all the mistakes that Matt Eberflus made, because now he knows just don't do that and I'll already be better off than he was. So
Guys, real quick, River Street, 102 River Street, 102 North River Street,
North River
East
Street
Dundee.
in East Dundee,
Go check them out, guys. We are going to have an event. I think there's a
December 16th.
Do we have the thing? There's a
Yeah,
thing.
probably it's in here somewhere.
Yeah. But there's an event, guys, December 16th. If you live anywhere near this, we're in the northern suburb area.
I found it.
There it is.
December 16th, 2024. Bears versus Vikings.
Kyle's the barkeep. So make your way out to River Street make your way out to River Street no matter what. But guys, December 16th specifically, so we can meet you in person. That'd be pretty cool, guys.
Yeah, come on out.
I think they'll have some food there, guys, some specials. I don't know, maybe.
If y'all are local, come check us out. We'll be there Monday night. I think the doors open at 6. I remember hearing there's a lot of cool stuff that they're going to be auctioning off in terms of
$1 off draft beers, looks like.
$1 draft beers?
$1 off, I think. Yeah.
But yeah, come check us out, guys. It'd be cool to meet you guys. We appreciate you always in the chat. You guys killed it today. Mellow, Exotic, Justin, both subscribe, man. So thank y'all for that. KO Sports Talk. Hopefully you subscribe, man, so you can come back and check us out. We appreciate having more conversation with you. You seem like a good dude. Jedediah Harper. We had Bruce in here. So everybody who tuned in, man, thank you so much. Yeah, we appreciate you.
Chat was awesome.
Yeah,
we were having a conversation with everybody. You know what I mean? It's
Let's
cool,
do it again next week.
It's always cool when it works out that way, man.
It's the best when it works out that way. And when you guys are involved in the show is always better, which tells me that y'all are doing something right. So keep that going. We're just two dummies talking shit like we have for the last 20 years we've known each other. Breaking Bruce says, great show. Thanks, Bruce. Thank you, man. Bear down. Hey, we'll see you on Sunday. Look forward to meeting you, Bruce. Look forward to meeting you. And hopefully you guys can make it out if you're local, you can make it out on Monday the 16th to watch that Bears-Vikings game, be a part of a really cool cause, Bears Cares. It's going to be a lot of fun too. So anything else you want to add before we get out of here, Brandon?
No, that's it.
Exotic, Justin. Thank you. Go Bears. All right, guys, bear down. We'll be back with you on Sunday before the Bears game. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to y'all soon.